Welcome to Book Corner. Have you ever been to the northeast of India? If not, I suggest please go there. It's a beautiful place, a heaven on earth. Well, today I have for you a book from that area titled India-China Gridlock over Arunachal, a challenge to India's polity by R.D. Pradhan. Friends, Pradhan was the first governor of Arunachal Pradesh from 1987 to 1990. He has travelled extensively in the far-off and remote areas of the northeast, especially the border areas of the state. He has also interacted with the people and got acquainted with their social and cultural heritage. The author had retired as the Union Home Secretary and was appointed by Rajiv Gandhi as the governor of the newly formed state of Arunachal. In the book, he has presented issues relating to India's sovereignty that, unless resolved early, will continue to pose a threat to India's integrity. The subject book is a publication of Chinar Publishers, and the price of the book is rupees 395. Though it was published in 2013, yet the narration appears quite fresh and relevant as it comprises both the history and geography of Arunachal Pradesh and the strategic initiative required to protect the sovereignty of India. The author rightly has used plain English to convey his point of view. Although the book is of a medium spine, comprising 169 pages, it has a long table of contents of some 30 chapters. The central theme of the narration is independent India's inheritance of her geographical boundaries from the British on 15th August 1947. It talks about China's claim on the territory of present-day Arunachal Pradesh. China claims that the territory of the state belonging to the Tibet region has been occupied by India illegally after the British left their colony of the two succeeding governments of India and Pakistan in 1947. The book mentions that the Sino-Indian boundary has never been delimited and there is only a traditional customary boundary line between the two countries. Now this is very important. It talks about the inner line misconception. But friends, what is inner line? Well, it is aptly explained in the book. In a nutshell, the Chinese have claimed Arunachal Pradesh on the basis of their claim line along the southern border that was delineated on the then available cartography maps of the British. Actually, till the northeast frontier, that is NEFA, NEFA, was notified as the present, Arunachal Pradesh was a part of Assam province of the British and post-independence India. Its southern boundary was known as the inner line. What is this so-called inner line and its relevance to the evolution of the British rule in the northeast? In any event, that line had nothing to do with Tibet. The inner line only indicated the limits of the administrative areas and in no way defined the actual boundary of the British possessions. The book describes the land and the people quite descriptively. The name Arunachal is most appropriately named. At the touch of dawn, each morning the sun rays first touch the Indian soil at its northeastern tip, which awakens India to a new day. The cultural and spiritual life of Monpas, M-O-N-P-A-S, Monpas, the major tribe of Arunachal Pradesh, revolves around the Tawang monastery. Founded over 350 years ago, it is by far the biggest lamassery in India at an altitude of 3048 meters and houses over 500 lamas. The author also touches upon wildlife. Arunachal is a stronghold of the Indian elephant. Tigers are found in some places along the foothills, while leopard, sloth bear and Himalayan black bear are common on higher reaches. The author has also dwelt on the early history of the place. A reference he makes about the existence of a temple of Rukmani, which is here. It is said that Rukmani and Idu, Mishmi tribal girl, and Lord Krishna rested here when they eloped from Bhismak Nagar, her father's kingdom situated 100 kilometers to the east along the Brahmaputra river valley. It also talks of the Tawang area, the heart of Buddhism. Tawang monastery is clearly Tibetan. The book explains the Shimla Agreement, which the Chinese government refused to ratify. It talks about Sir Henry McMahon and McMahon Line. In reality, the Indo-Tibetan boundary was delimited and not demarcated on the ground. The book covers Buddhism in Arunachal Pradesh and Tibet and China's claims. In September 2007, a Chinese official made a claim on the Tawang area on the ground that it was inhabited by people practicing Buddhism. Also, the monastery and the fact that the 6th Dalai Lama was born here established the fact that the area was part of Tibet. It is firmly believed that the famous Indian monk Padma Sambhava, who arrived in Tibet in 747 AD in response to an invitation of the Tibetan king Disrom Detsen, finally established Buddhism here. Kameng Frontier Division became a household name when China attacked across the borders in the northeast in September 1962. Till then, hardly anyone on India's mainland knew or cared to know about the land. Kameng Frontier Division was designated as a district in 1972. In many respects, the people inhabiting the Kameng district are distinctly different to the tribes inhabiting the rest of Arunachal Pradesh. In other chapters, the author describes his visit to Tawang. He also describes a shameful incident of the 1962 war when an Indian commander of a division along with his men panicked and ran away towards the Bhutan boundary instead of facing the enemy, and after weeks of trekking in the jungles they eventually reached Tezpur. In contrast, the author also narrates the brave story of the unforgettable hero Jaswant Singh, in whose name a place there has been named Jaswantgarh. The book also takes you on a tour of Tawang Monastery that has a link to Tibet and Buddhism. It also takes you beyond Tawang and into the problems of human and cattle grazing across the border. The author also recollects his trip to Namka Chu Valley, called the Valley of Death. The book is a mix of a bit of adventure, history, flora and fauna. You will be richer in knowledge after reading the title. The book also has some historical pictures. The author also covers the easternmost Lohit district and his visit to other northern areas in the book. The book talks about the Brahmaputra, hence I would call the narration a combination of history, geography, travel, strategy and mythology. It gives a vivid description of the areas along the Myanmar border, the people of Lohit and Changlang districts. It describes the population of Wanchu, the Nokti and the Tangsas along the Myanmar border near the Patkhoi range. As part of the history, it covers the consolidation of boundary, the pre-1947 efforts, post-independence evolution, Nehru's policy framework, cartographic aggression, the border talks in the Nehruvian era, the border talks in the Indira era, and the Deng package. It also brings to the fore the border talks in the Rajiv Gandhi era, which is one-upmanship. They say the Chinese cannot be trusted. See how the Chinese changed the goalpost post Van Dung. In the summing up part of the book, the author redefines the parameters of India post the Rajiv Gandhi era. The legitimate question that the book asks is, how is it that the border issue has been kept alive for over 4 decades when both China and India have moved ahead in their chosen ways and now established mutually beneficial relationships in the trade and several other endeavors? Why couldn't Pandit Nehru resolve the border issue in his lifetime, feels the author. It is an interesting read and quite descriptive. Apart from the border issue, the narration captures the flora and fauna, locales, culture, tradition, and the description of the place in a detailed manner. If you are fond of traveling, then too, this book is very interesting. The chapters are small, say 4 to 5 pages each, but crisp. I would give the book an A grade. That's all I have for today, friends. See you next week. Don't forget to subscribe the channel and press the bell icon so that you are informed about the next book review.